drought is definitely forcing this conversation, as it should.
A significant tax policy shift is now being considered in the Utah legislature. It changes some of the taxes you pay, and lawmakers argue it may be necessary given Utah's extreme drought conditions. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has the exclusive story from the Grand America Hotel in downtown Salt Lake City.
The tax policy change was unveiled here at the Utah Taxpayers Association conference at the Grand America, and given Utah's water situation, it's significant.
In Utah, we use property tax to pay for water.
Lawmakers estimate as much as 2/3 of your property tax bill subsidizes water and infrastructure in addition to the monthly water bill you pay.
Unfortunately, what that does is it shifts the burden away from people's monthly bill.
Senator Dan McKay, who chairs the Utah State Senate's Revenue and Taxation Committee, is floating the idea of carving out water subsidies from property taxes.
We need to get to a point in the state of Utah where your rates are tied to how much you're using.
The idea has been proposed before, but hasn't gone very far. But in Utah's drought emergency, it's getting some new attention.
We can change that and get the right tax policy in place, and as you heard here today, hopefully that's coming soon.
The Utah Taxpayers Association supports the idea. They insist it's not creating a new tax just for water.
Those that use a lot of water would pay more. Those that use less water would pay less.
And government and nonprofits don't actually pay property taxes. So in essence, they're getting free water.
I think that everyone needs to pay their share of water, right? And that includes nonprofits, governmental entities, that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, it includes the state.
The change in approach came as a surprise to some in the crowd.
All of that is under consideration right now because we're facing a historic drought.
The Utah League of Cities and Towns, which represents municipal governments, has a lot of questions.
I think it's still too early to say it should be X or it should be Y. And we need to look at it holistically about what water conservation means for communities, for users, for infrastructure, for growth, for existing residents, for businesses, for the environment. We've got to look at all those pieces.
On that optimistic note.
But the Speaker of the House acknowledged water conservation is a growing need, and it's a policy they ought to discuss.
I drive around and I see all these places that take water that's not going to the Great Salt Lake, not going to Utah Lake, and it's just being wasted in how we use it. We've got to think about that differently.
Now, this is still in concept phase. Discussions will happen over the next year, but you could see a bill in the 2023 legislative session. At the Grand America, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.